numerologist community, and welcome to another episode of What's in Your Spiritual Toolkit, the series where we interview numerologists, astrologers, and experts from the world of spirituality and divination to ask what's in their toolkit to inspire you to create your own. Now, today we are with Nat from Nat's Numbers, and if you have been part of the numerologist community for any amount of time, you will absolutely recognize Nat's face. She's our resident numerologist and does our numerology forecast every single month. So if you haven't checked out Nat, this is just a plug for her to make sure you actually go and check out her numerology forecast on a monthly basis. But let's get down to this one. Hey Nat, how are you?
Hey Rose, I'm doing so great. Thank you for being here with me.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. So before we get started, I just want to ask you, what does a spiritual toolkit look like for you? What is a spiritual toolkit? Because I feel like it can mean so many things to so many different people.
Yeah, so in my private practice, this is something that I cover a lot because you can know the numbers in your chart and you can kind of understand how you were designed by the universe. But if you do not have a practice of developing a BFF relationship with the cosmos, it's going to be really difficult for you to create your reality and to create miracles in your life. So I think what's important for people to understand first and foremost is that having a spiritual toolkit has drastic effects on results in your life. Here's the meaning of spiritual, at least in my eyes. It's where we are investing time and energy in the non-physical or non-material aspects of life. And if we skim over this topic of like what spiritual is, and we just go to what are the cool spiritual tools to play with, people don't actually understand the depth and the profound nature of what we're talking about, the benefits, the results that they can achieve. If you do not have a spiritual practice in your life, if you do not develop your own tool bag of ways to connect to the divine, what happens? Well, what tends to happen is you wake up every morning, and even if you intellectually believe that you're the creator of your reality, you will get hypnotized in a second by the physical world. You know, you'll hear your kids, you'll start making breakfast, you'll interact with your spouse or a family member, you'll think about the tasks ahead, and you're just sucked into the muggle world. You know, you're sucked into the physical world. And so then you are just reacting. You're just reacting to what is already there in your life. The problem with this is that you can only create as far as your environment is. In other words, if you are not connecting with the spiritual world, you're probably not going to break the cycles of your family lineage. You're probably not going to earn more or than your parents, create more than your parents did, bust out of the norms that are in your friend group. It's so difficult to go for your dreams. And so I'm really passionate about this because it was really difficult for me to get into a spiritual practice, to be honest, like being completely honest. When you've got the kids and you've got work and you're going to the office, you're like, really? Does that matter? Does this really matter? Like, is this really going to create a result in my life? Yes, it does, because the non-physical aspect of life, whether you call that God, your creator, the universe, I call it the 0 point field, the infinite intelligence behind existence. When you connect to that, you suddenly have access to a realm of possibilities. You can get the kind of insights and guidance that you need to follow your dreams. And what you think might be impossible becomes possible when you have that relationship. So your spiritual toolkit is actually a very practical exercise in creating your best life. It's very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's jump straight to it then. What is in your spiritual toolkit?
Well, when you asked me this question, when you sent me the email about this, I actually had to think long and hard, because here's my thought process. I was like, I actually don't have a lot of spiritual tools. Like, I was thinking about physical things, you know. My best girlfriend, Gina, if you're watching, hi. I talk to her every day, and she loves crystals. She loves surrounding herself with like malas and just like statues. She's just, that is kind of what she's developed to tap into that beautiful, blissful, energetic realm. But for me, And maybe it's because I'm a mom of 2 daughters and gosh, man, my life is kind of full and crazy. My spiritual tools are a little bit different. And so I'm going to preface this by saying that if you're the kind of person who you don't have a lot of like, you don't have crystals, you don't have malas, you don't have like prayer flags, you know, the stuff that you get at a metaphysical store. If you don't have those things yet, or you don't have access to those things, or you're not ready yet to invest in those physical things, let me tell you, you don't need them. You don't need them to open up the doorway to that magical realm. The things I'm about to share with you are things that you have access to. You probably already own them. And they're things that you could carry with you. And I do my spiritual routine. If I can't do it in the morning before my 2-year-old wakes up, I will do it in the parking lot of Safeway. I will do it like in the parking lot of the gym when I'm done working out. I will do it anywhere because these tools are just with me wherever I go. Okay. So the first one is sacred space. Okay. Now, sacred space can be where you create like a meditation room or an altar or a space in your home. But it can also just be where you like set an intention and you just say, all right, what I'm doing right now is I'm having a moment where me and my cosmic best friend, we're going to connect. Okay. So if you're on the go, you can just set an intention and that's your tool. The intention is like, close your eyes, like, hey, I'm reaching out to you. Let's connect. But I want to share with you a quick story of why sacred space can be really, really important at home. So in the old house that we lived in, that was where I had my newborn. My newborn's now 2 years old, but we had this beautiful, beautiful house. And I had an office before she was born, but it was then turned into the nursery. It was turned into her room. And every room was like taken, you know, there was like the breastfeeding station in my bedroom. And then there was like her room. And my girlfriend, I was having a hard time. I was like not prioritizing my spiritual self-care. My girlfriend's like, Natalie, you need to create a space in your home where that's yours. It's like it's yours. It's your space. And I was like, there's no space in my home. I was like, I don't have any room. But she challenged me. So it could be a corner. It could be your side table on your bed. It could be anywhere. But what I chose was under the staircase, there was this closet, you know, and we had all these books and stuff in there. And I turned it into like my magical Harry Potter space. And I got made fun of. Everyone made fun of me. My friends would come over and, you know, I'd be sitting in there. I'd be sitting in under the stairs, you know. But I'm telling you, it was a game changer for me during that postpartum, you know, experience. And I took everything out. It was carpeted. And then I put like a meditation cushion in there. And then my favorite books and incense. And that was it. It was just basically a cleaned out space that was mine. It was a place I could go. And everybody knew that when I was there, it was my time. So that was the space that I used. So that was my first number one tool, is create a sacred space. You can create that sacred space in your car, by just having like one item, like one physical item that feels a little sacred. So it could be, you know, for me in my car, I have a card deck, like an oracle card deck. And it's like, if I want to do my spiritual practice there, just open up that card deck, just pull a card. It doesn't even matter, but it's just that action of, oh wait, I'm diving into my relationship with spirit. So sacred space is important. Recommend having at least one sacred space at home and having one sacred space on the go. So something in your car that that can actually presence you, whether that's an intention that you speak or a physical item that you already own, just something that's sacred to you. Okay, that's number one.
I've got to say, I love that. I love having somewhere at home that's the, you know, the constant, and then somewhere that you have on the go for when you need that quick fix almost.
Yeah, it's important. Well, and a lot of my clients are like, you know, I wanted to connect with the zero or spirit this morning, but this thing happened. And it's like, of course, it happens all the time. So that's okay. That's okay. But know that you have access to this metaphysical realm no matter where you are. You could be in an airplane, you could be at a party, you could be, who was it? Was it Melanie Griffith? I don't know if it was this actress, but she would say she would go in the bathroom. She would go in the bathroom, like even at like just a bathroom stall of a restaurant or a party, and she would just sit on the toilet and she would just do deep breathing and she would connect to spirit, right? But it's like having that place that it's like, it's an interruption in your regular mode. And it's saying, okay, now I'm connecting. Okay.
Absolutely.
So one last thing, and that's for some people, sacred space means setting a time. So that's the last thing that I'll share. So sacred space can be a physical little tiny area in your house, a tiny little anchor in your car that'll just get you into that mode. But for other people, it can be as simple as saying, all right, family, from 6 a.m. to 6:30, this is my sacred time. This is when I'm gonna be connecting to the non-physical. So that can also be a form of sacred space. Okay. The theme here is just prioritizing yourself and your relationship to the divine. That's all it is.
I feel like every time I do one of these, it's almost like a personal wake-up call. Like, come on, you've got to actually implement these things into your life, because I get up at 5 a.m. and I jump straight on my computer and start working. And it's one of those things where I actually have a sacred space just beyond where I'm sat here, and I can count on one hand the amount of times I've gone there. So it's something that I'm trying to sort of put into my practice as well, to when I get up, spend half an hour, 20 minutes or something in that sacred space. So anyway, just a little personal anecdote.
Yes. And it changes your day. It absolutely changes the destiny of your day. I mean, Rose, we're talking about, I literally have done an experiment with myself and with clients of like, do a day without that spiritual practice. And just like take note of what happens and how it feels. The juxtaposition between the spiritual practice day and the non-spiritual practice day it's mind-boggling. It's like the destiny of your day shifts. Miracles happen. You meet people on the street. Emails come in. It's like, it's the craziest thing. When you take that time out for yourself, you show up in a different way. You show up as your true self versus as the reactive, like physical meat suit self. So yeah,
absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to make a commitment to myself and hold myself accountable with everybody here. I'm going to do 30 days of doing that. And I'm going to write a blog or do a video about how it changes my day.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Rose, will you send me the link? I want to follow along. Okay.
All right. Okay. So back to you. What's the second tool in your spiritual toolkit?
So the second tool is kind of this silly one, but it's really a game changer for me. And that is having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee before I dive into meditation or dive into my conversation with the divine. So there's just something about it that is a form of self-care. It's a pattern interrupt. So it's like, instead of just going forward in the day or, looking at the laundry that's over there or, looking at the grocery store that I'm about to walk into, just having that cup of something that's nourishing, something that feeds me, really puts me into a aligned state. So if you're not into caffeine, you do your herbal tea or you do a glass of water. I love coffee. I'm a coffee freak. So it's definitely coffee. So in the morning, what I do is I just go to my Keurig coffee machine. I create a cup of coffee. I go and sit down in my little sacred space. By the way, I do this for a living. I'm a numerologist. I don't have a meditation room. I don't have a meditation space. I have like a tiny little like corner with my meditation cushion, but most of the time I'll go outside on my back deck and I'll do my meditation there. So I just wanted to comfort people, like, again, cool. And I aspire to have my own meditation room at some point, but it's like, you don't need that. So I'll just grab my cup of coffee. I'll go outside. I'll just take a moment, I'll sip that coffee. I'll give myself this moment of serenity and of self-care. So having a beverage, a mug of something special to you is a beautiful, beautiful thing. It kind of brings you inward slowly. That's the first step.
Do you choose a mug based on how you're feeling, or is it just what you grab at the time?
Well, we have quite a collection. Yeah. So we have like beautiful inspirational mugs. I have like a corgi one because I love corgi dogs. And so I've got a corgi mug. But I know some of my clients, like they have that one mug that's like their mug and they bought it or it was a gift and it just represents who they are or a saying that makes them feel so special. So I would just say, just have a cup that's special to you that can help make this ritual a little bit more potent.
Absolutely. Okay. Number three.
Okay. So this is where it gets kind of weird, you guys. Like, this is where I kind of am unusual. So the next 3 tools that I'm going to be sharing with you are the tools that I use to actively connect to spirit, to what I call the 0 point field. So the first one is you're going to need your phone. So my cell phone, I know that this is like horrible to say because we're not supposed to be into technology, when we're doing a spiritual practice, but my phone is an incredible tool for me. So one of the first things that I do, got my cup of coffee, is I open up the Pinterest app. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with this app. Like, I don't understand how it's not like people aren't more obsessed with it. But Pinterest is basically, you can use it for a bunch of different things. You can create boards of your favorite recipes, or you can create boards of like decor that you want in your home. And I use it for that. But my favorite thing is you can create Pinterest boards for your, like, as a vision board. And so I've got like a couple different vision boards. I've got boards, for places I want to live, how I want my dream house to look, how I want my dream office to look. But I've got basically a core board, and it's just a series of pictures that I've posted. And what I do in the morning is I open up this Pinterest board, and I don't know if you guys can see, but this is what it looks like. So it's just, yeah. Oh wait, that's a text message. Sorry. But anyway, it's just, you can post a bunch of different pictures. And so what I do is I open up this vision board and I just scroll through it, and I sip my coffee and I scroll through basically this board that represents my fantasy self. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? I have characters from movies, female characters that I aspire to. They have qualities that I want to embody. I've got physical things on there, but like physical items, but for the most part, these are pictures that represent a state of being. They're like who I want to be: confident, self-assured, proud, spiritual, spiritual goddess photos and things like that. So this in and of itself, even if you don't do the other 2 tools that I'm going to give you, this is a brilliant way to develop an active relationship with your future, with creating your future. So Pinterest is a way to just basically connect to that future that you want to create. And so instead of waking up and going, oh, this is who I am, or this is how I feel, or this is what I have to deal with, you connect to your future self. And just looking at the pictures brings you into that centered place. So already you're corresponding to spirit by dreaming. Spirit is that realm of dreaming, of imagination, of unlimited possibilities. Regardless of whether you do anything else, this is you connecting to your cosmic best friend and saying, I'm going to dream with you. I'm going to dream about the possibilities of who I could be and what I could do and what I could become.
Yeah, and I really love the fact that you it's less the physical, and people can do this the way that feels right for them, right? But yeah, I love the way you it's the qualities that you're looking at. It's not the physical material things, it's those things that you're trying to embody, which I think is quite a unique perspective on how people actually use Pinterest.
Yeah, and even vision boards, right? Because the standard of a vision board is like, you got your beautiful car and your beautiful, house, and those are great. I mean, you can add those things on there, but what I tell my clients, this is called the ZPF technique. So it's just activating the 0. And what I tell them with this technique is really put a focus on who you want to become, and have pictures be there that create that experience of you're already that person. Because it's less about objects, right? Like the power, the way that we manifest with the zero is not by thinking about the things that we want, but it's about really stepping into that future self. Because if you become that future self now, you'll manifest everything that you want. It's right. If we don't have what we want, it's because we're not that person yet. You know, it's
right.
It's like, it's really confronting. It's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the Pinterest board. So it's an absolutely free app that anybody can download that has a smartphone. And so you can just open it up, and then you can create a new board, and you can put any picture. You can search all over the internet. You can search on the actual Pinterest app. You can type in, you know, CEO woman, or like, you know, I don't know, whatever your thing is, you type it in, and if you find pictures that evoke that feeling of, oh, that's what I want to be, or that's who I want to become, pin it to your new board and look at it every morning.
Absolutely. And I'd actually be really interested to see what the people watching this are going to put on their vision board. So if you're watching this and you're going to create a Pinterest board, comment below with what you're going to put on that board. I'd really, really love to see what you're going to create your vision board with.
Yes. And I'll add like a couple little things if people are like, well, I don't know what to put in. It's like, if you have characters from movies or storybooks that when you watch that movie, you know, you watch a movie and you're inspired for a couple days after, you're like, oh, I want to be that person. Put that person on your Pinterest board, because there were qualities that they embodied that you want to be, that you know intuitively that if you had those qualities, you would have the things that you wanted. So that's a great place to start, is to put you know, characters from movies, from TV shows, from a book, put them up on the vision board and on the Pinterest board. And it's crazy because, you know, when you do a vision board, you have to get magazines. Like, who buys magazines anymore? Like, nobody does that. It's like really expensive too. They're like $10 for a magazine. So this is like, you know, you've got the internet at your disposal of unlimited pictures to start to put on there. So, okay. Are you ready for the next one?
Absolutely.
So once you create a vision board on the Pinterest app of your future self, then create a playlist. This is basically a soundtrack of pieces of music that make you feel like that person. You know, so it could be cinematic music, it could be classical music. I have, like, honestly, I have EDM music, like I have electronic music that's on my my playlist. But you can, you know, there's the Spotify app, which is a music app that's absolutely free. And you can, there's like a paid version if you don't want commercials, but you can create a playlist of your favorite songs that evoke the feeling of being that person. So I recommend having 1 to 2 songs to start. You can always add more, but 1 to 2 songs to start that really just inspire you, that make you feel like you're that person. And this is an incredible tool, because then you got your cup of coffee in your sacred space. You've just looked through your Pinterest app and were reminded of who you want to be. And then you press that song, the whatever you're in the mood for today, you press that song and you close your eyes and you visualize that you are that person, that this is like the movie montage moment where you're becoming that person, listening to this song, and it gets you into that state of being. The music vibrationally just kind of sinks you in to knowing that you get to decide to be that person today if you want to be that person. So listen to that 3 to 5 minute song. Boom. And then the last tool that I have is having a notebook. Okay. And all that I do after I look over my Pinterest board really quick, close my eyes and listen to my song, visualizing that I am already her, the last thing I do is I open up my notebook, and there's a question at the top that says, what is one practical step that I can take to be that person today, to be my future self today? Practical is really important because the point of a spiritual practice, in my mind, isn't to just escape from reality. The point of a spiritual practice isn't to like ascend. Like we're we're here for a reason. This is like a cool holodeck reality. We might as well have fun manifesting what we want and what we desire. The point of a spiritual practice is to get the help and the insights that you need from home base, so that you can then come back into physical reality and create some change, some revolution in your life. So whatever idea comes up, and it'll be wacky. Like some of the things I write down, the first answer to that question are like, some of them are weird. Some of them are go for a run. Some of them are, drink an extra 2 glasses of water. But sometimes they're really intense. Like sometimes they're like, write that email that you haven't been writing, because that's what your future self would have done, 2 years ago. So you write that down, and then that is what you're accountable to do today. Rose, these tools are absolute game changers. They're game changers, and you can do them anywhere. You can do them when you're on vacation. You can do them at home. You can do them no matter what is going on in your life. You just have to basically have 3 to 5 minutes, the length and duration of one of those songs, to engage in this. So there we go.
Wow, I'm so inspired, and I love that you're talking about the practical things that your future self would do, because it's so easy to think, yeah, I want to be that person, but you never make steps to get to that point unless you're intentional about it. And that seems like such a great way to make small steps every single day, which is really what it's all about, isn't it? It's baby steps and baby steps until you get to where you want to be.
Yeah, in fact, a little secret. I mean, I've had my private practice for about a decade now, and the clients that get the most amazing results, like they have miracles happen in their lives, are not the clients that are doing huge feats, like big, huge, amazing, like leaps of faith and huge risks. They're the people that are just taking those small baby steps every single day. And it's amazing and inspiring to see. And it's happened in my own life. It's like I've gone through, we all have times in our life that were really traumatic or difficult. And as I was going through a traumatic time in my life, that was actually when I sort of unearthed and discovered these spiritual tools. Because when you're really pushed down to the wire and you're backed against a wall, you don't have a lot of energy, you don't have a lot of resources, you don't have a lot. You can only do what's really going to work. And these are the things that work, is just the sacred space, nourishing yourself with one, cup of tea or cup of coffee, a vision board, a plate, one song, little moment where you visualize that you already are him or her, and then really holding yourself accountable. Now that I've tapped in to that spiritual realm of possibility, what am I going to do to materialize it today? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think one thing as well, is important to know that although we've talked about these things quite simply, and they are quite simple things, people can always potentially use a little bit more help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link to your website, so if people feel like they need a bit more help with this kind of thing and a bit of a personal insight, they can connect with you, if that's all right.
Thank you, Rose. I'm so grateful for that. Yes.
No worries. All right. Well, thank you again, Nat. That has been such an insightful and inspiring show with you today. So thank you so much again.
Thank you, Rose. This was so good. Bye, everybody.